Hello, my name is Barry Lesser. I'm the director of the joint program in economics that exists between Dalhousie University and the University of Finance and Economics of Mongolia. I'm speaking to you as first-year students in economics at UFE, some of whom have already chosen to be part of the Dalhousie program group that was formed when you started university at UFE in September of 2021. But I'm not speaking only to those students, though they have shown a predisposal to considering Dalhousie for further study beyond the second year at UFE. But I'm also talking to all first-year students, because you are still eligible to apply to Dalhousie next year for study in years 3 and 4 of your degree program. It doesn't disqualify you. You are not disqualified from still coming to Dalhousie if you did not join the Dalhousie group in first year, at the beginning of this year. So I'm speaking more generally to all first-year students in economics. As I said, the subgroup that is the Dalhousie program group has shown an interest in possible study at Dalhousie right from the beginning, but no one is ruled out, no one is eliminated from considering the option of study at Dalhousie, regardless of whether you joined that Dalhousie group at the beginning of the year. As you now come to the end of your first year of university, it's particularly important, I think, that you plan, if the Dalhousie program, including study at Dalhousie, is a real option for you, something that you are very much concerned with and very seriously thinking about, then this summer break that's coming up between your first and second year of university is important as a time for you to think even more carefully about your options and be ready when you come back to university in September of 2022 to begin your second year of study. By that time, you need to have made a preliminary decision as to whether you will apply for admission to Dalhousie. That still doesn't mean you're committed to coming, if accepted. Indeed, there are students from all over the world who apply to Dalhousie, who get accepted to Dalhousie, and who then decide not to attend Dalhousie. That is always your choice. At any time, you can say, I've changed my mind, or I wanted to know what my options were, but I've now decided to stay in Mongolia. So there is no commitment on your side, but you do have to get to the point where you know whether you're going to submit an application. And you also have to, in anticipation of that, start to prepare for doing an English proficiency exam, such as the IELTS or the TOEFL. Either of those are equally acceptable, as are some other possible choices. But you cannot be considered for admission to Dalhousie until you can also submit the results of one of those common tests of English proficiency. And so you can apply in the fall, but you need to also prepare for and sign up for, register for doing the IELTS or the TOEFL. And then you need to complete that before your application will actually be able to be considered. The way the process will work is that we will invite people to apply next fall, probably sometime in October or November, most likely November. And we will then have those applications, and we will then wait to receive your transcripts, your grade reports for 3 semesters of university work, 2 semesters from this year, your first year of study, and the results of the fall semester of your second year of study next fall, next autumn. With those 3 semesters of grades, and further with the results of an English proficiency test, such as the IELTS or TOEFL, we will then look at your application. We will expect that you should have a grade average for your 3 semesters of study that is approximately 70% or higher. And we also expect that there will be no failures, or if there was a failure, that failure has been corrected, either through a supplemental exam or by retaking the course. If you have outstanding failures that have not been corrected, then you will not be eligible to be accepted. On the English proficiency side, as long as you have an IELTS result, which is at least a 5.0 or higher, then we will be able to find a way to allow you to study at Dalhousie. With a 5.0 or 5.5 on the IELTS, you will have to do further English study before you can start to take academic courses. But with a 5 or 5.5, that further English study is possible to do in the summer before your first year at Dalhousie is scheduled to start. In other words, it's an 8-week program that is in July and August and will, if successful, allow you to begin your academic courses with your fellow classmates in September of 2023. If you have a 6.0 or higher, then we will simply accept you to the program at Dalhousie. There is some further English study which is built into your first year at Dalhousie that you will still have to do, but you will be able to start your academic courses in September of 2023 at the same time as you are doing some of this further English that is a requirement for students in this program. So you will apply if you make a decision that you want to apply. You will submit your application in November. You will then be taking, if you have not already done so, be taking the IELTS or the TOEFL. I just quoted you the results that you need to get on the IELTS. The TOEFL equivalents are 70, a TOEFL IBT result of 79 or higher for the unconditional acceptance, and greater than 65 for the conditional acceptance, which involves taking the summer program. It is possible, if you have lower scores on either the IELTS or the TOEFL than what I've just quoted you, it is still possible that you might be accepted to Dalhousie on condition that you do at least one whole semester and possibly 2 semesters of full-time English study before you begin your academic program. So that becomes both a time-consuming option for you as well as a financially costly option, because it means you're in Canada at Dalhousie studying English for almost a whole year before you get to begin your academic courses, which still will require 2 further years of study. So you end up being in Canada for approximately 3 years as opposed to 2 years, as long as you can qualify to either take the summer program in English that gets you up to the correct level, or you have that level to begin. In any case, in order to get to the point where you know whether you're going to apply in the fall, you need to spend time this summer thinking about your options. And very importantly, you need to spend time talking to your parents about whether this is a feasible alternative for you, because it is a costly option. A year of study at Dalhousie is going to involve a financial cost that is somewhere between 40,000 and 50,000 Canadian dollars. 40 may be an underestimate. 50 may be closer to the real costs that you can expect to have to meet, including your tuition costs, all of your books and materials, your accommodation, your food, your entertainment, your phone, and your clothing and travel costs. All of those things for one full year of life as a student at Dalhousie will end up costing something in the neighborhood of 50,000 Canadian dollars. That's a lot of money. And that's why you need to think about this very carefully for yourselves, and you need to discuss it with your parents to find out if, in fact, it is something that is possible within the family budget. That is basically the message I want to deliver to you right now, and for you to take with you as you finish your first year of university and move on to think about your second year and beyond. Keep in mind that there are many advantages that come with study abroad. You get to experience life in a new country. You get to experience life and study at a different university. You get exposure to new people and new ideas. You get exposure to a different culture. You get to meet new friends in the community, but also, of course, in the university itself, in your classes. Dalhousie has more than 10% of the student body made up of international students. More than 2,500 international students are currently studying at Dalhousie. They come from 115 or more different countries around the world. And you will be part of that community. You will get the opportunity to meet and to talk to and to make friends with all of those different people from all of those different places. Not to mention, of course, Canadians themselves. You'll get to improve your English. You'll get to live in an English-speaking environment. All of these advantages will be something that will stay with you for the rest of your lives. It's an opportunity at this juncture to experience a different country, a different culture, a different people, to make new friends. All of those things will be a benefit that you will enjoy for the rest of your life and should not therefore be taken lightly. If further you have some ambition to go on to postgraduate study after you complete your bachelor's degree, your first degree, then you will find that coming to Dalhousie as an undergraduate for years 3 and 4 of your bachelor study, that will in fact give you a major advantage in applying to other universities in North America or in the UK or in various other parts of the world that you may be interested to go to do a master's degree or even at some point a doctoral degree. The advantage is not because we're trying to say that Dalhousie is a tremendously superior university to UFE. UFE is an extremely good university. The difference in having a Dalhousie degree along with your UFE degree versus simply having the UFE degree is that in other parts of other parts of Canada or in the US or in the UK, most admissions officers at all those other universities in those places will know Dalhousie, and they'll know the standards that Dalhousie represents. They may not be particularly familiar with the University of Finance and Economics in Mongolia. And that puts you at a disadvantage if they don't know your school, if they don't know what the standards of that school are, if they don't know how good that school is. They do know how good Dalhousie is. They do know what Dalhousie standards are. Not only then can they better judge you based on your Dalhousie results, but they can also then better judge what your first 2 years of study at UFE mean in terms of your qualities as a student, because they can infer from how well you did at Dalhousie what your results from UFE represent, even if they are not that familiar with UFE itself. So, apart from the experience of study abroad, the experience of living in a different place, of experiencing a different culture, of exposure to new people and new ideas, all those advantages aside, you also get a distinct advantage in terms of your application for postgraduate study if you have ambitions to do postgraduate study outside of Mongolia. These are all things that you need to think about. They're all things that you need to talk to your parents about and try to come back in September with some sense of whether you will take that next step of actually applying to Dalhousie. It's relatively minimal cost to submit an application. It's a few dollars. It will keep your options alive. If you don't apply, then obviously you won't be accepted and you don't get to come. If you do apply, then you will know if you're accepted and you will know whether it's a real choice that you then have to make. Keep in mind that application does not mean a commitment. It's a way of maintaining your options, of making the choice amongst those options that you think is best for you when a choice finally does have to be made. But the application itself is not that time when you have to make a final decision. Your final decision can, in fact, wait until you actually have to get on an airplane to come to Canada. So think about all of this. Talk to your parents. Consider your options. And I hope very much that many of you will make a decision to at least take the next step and submit your application. It's been a difficult 2.5 years in terms of the COVID-19 pandemic and the disruption that has created in interaction amongst people in different countries around the world because of the limitations that COVID has imposed on people's ability to travel. Normally, I would have met you in person and said what I've said now in this video in person. I would have had the opportunity to actually learn who some of you are, to talk to you individually, to know more about your individual ambitions and hopes for the future. Because of COVID, none of that has been possible, but I do sincerely hope that I will get to meet you at some point next year, although that may not be before you have to make a decision on whether to apply to Dalhousie. Sometime in October or November, if we cannot visit you in person, we will send you another video that will describe in more detail how the application process should proceed and invite you to submit your applications. But I do hope that I will get to do that in person and meet you. But in the meantime, think about Dalhousie as an option. Talk to your parents. Make sure that everyone understands what the cost will be. And I look forward to receiving your applications. And I look forward to meeting you in person, I hope within the next year. Thank you.